Welcome to lesson 7.7, using negative numbers. Negative numbers, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's look at our objective for the lesson. It says, how do we add and subtract negative numbers? Now, negative numbers, when we hear that and we think about adding and subtracting them, sometimes we panic, and I don't want you to do that. Okay, so I don't want you to panic. I want you to be thinking, you know what, I can do this. Adding and subtracting negative numbers. It's kind of like if I have more of something or less of something. If I'm in debt, and in debt means that, you know what, I owe money. Okay, so I want us to think about it kind of in terms of money, because I think it will make a little bit more sense to some of you. So let's get started on our lesson. So our math message, it says positive and negative numbers on a number line. So you're going to need your journal, and I hopefully reminded you of that and to bring it home. If you didn't, you're just going to draw this little number line here, and you're going to plot it. And you're going to just make a little number line. And what it says right here is it says complete problem 1 in journal page 229. So you will need journal page 229. So on the number line, it says plot each of the following bicycle race events on the number line below. Label each event with its letter. So you don't have to actually write 5 minutes or whatever. Hint, 0 on the number line stands for the starting time of the race. So right here, 0 is the time the race starts. So anything negative would be before the race. Anything after the 0 then is after the race has already begun. Hopefully that kind of gives you a little clue and helps you a little bit. So it says check in 5 minutes before the race. So if that's before the race, I want to come down here, and above 5, hopefully you have an A written on the line. So that's what you're going to do with that. And you're going to record D, E, and F. I have to know my alphabet. Mrs. Heath is forgetting. So you're going to bring that in tomorrow. Let's look at this real quick. Okay, now, this is another part of your journal, and we're going to talk about this too, but I wanted to just read it to you. It says, Mr. Pima's class planned a raffle. 5 students were asked to sell raffle tickets. The goal of each student was $50 in ticket sales. The table below shows how well each of the 5 students did. Complete the table. Then plot the amounts from the last column on the number line below the table. Label each amount with that student's letter. So here is kind of the little table. And I'm not going to have you do anything with this. I just want you to see it. And it says student A fell $5.50 short of the goal. It's the amount that ticket sales were above or below. He was minus $5.50. So instead of selling the $50, he sold less than he was supposed to. Okay, so we're going to talk about that one in class, but I just wanted to give you another example of when we use a negative and positive numbers, and a lot of times it is dealing with money. Okay, so we'll talk about that in class, so you don't have to do anything with that, but I just wanted to give you another example of when do we use negative and positive numbers. So let's scroll down here, and there's a little cartoon. It says, how do we know this won't lead to budget deficits and subprime mortgages? It's just kind of a little joke, and it says today, negative numbers. 12 minus 2. 12 minus 2. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. 12 minus negative 2, negative 10 was 0. 12 minus a negative 14. It seems like they're kind of going in the hole, going the wrong direction. They start out positive, and then they go negative. So let's keep going. So we are going to compare and order numbers using negatives and positives. So for any pair of numbers on the number line, the number to the left is less than the number to the right. Okay, and especially when we're talking about negatives. Negative 10 is less than negative 5. Okay, now another way to think about that is, would I rather be in the hole $5 or $10? Okay, so if I'm in the hole $10, that means I'm in the hole more. Okay, so 10 is to the left of 5. We use the less than symbol to write negative 5 is less than negative 10 is less than negative 5. Okay, and that's a good way to think about it. Okay, because if I'm in the hole or if I'm negative 10, okay, that means I'm $10 in the hole, or I'm $5 in the hole, and I'm kind of coming up if you see that, okay? And hopefully that makes sense. It might be a little confusing. 10 is greater than 5 plus 5 because 10 is to the right of 5, and that makes sense also. So negative 5, is it greater or less than 5? Well, we kind of know negatives and positives. So let's think about it this way. I'm either in the whole $5 or I have $5. Which would you rather? Well, it's greater to have $5 than to be in the whole. Okay? The other way to look at that again is to look at the number line. Okay, and then Mrs. Heath's phone rings, and so now I'm back to doing this. So I'm trying to have you understand this a little bit better, because I don't know if I clarified it well. Negative 10 is less than negative 5 because negative 10 is to the left of negative 10, or negative 5, okay? So it seems like that seems weird, but it really is correct, okay? Because of how the number line is set up and how the numbers work. So we're going to work on that. So just be thinking about it in your mind to the left of, because I think that will help you a little bit too. So negative 5 is less than 5 because negative is kind of like I always said in the whole, okay? And you have something in the whole and it's less than. Okay, so you have number 2 is 10 and negative 10. So I want you to do 1 through 6 here, okay? And then it says, what is the value of pi to 2 decimal places? Now, pi, I don't know if we've even talked about pi this year, but hopefully we have. Pi is 3.14. Pi is 3.14. So actually I'm going to have you stop right there because I think that we're going to get more confused by doing any more than that. So let's go back and review. Using negative numbers, so we have that. How do we add and subtract negative numbers? Okay, and hopefully we're going to get a better handle on that, and hopefully Mrs. Heath hasn't confused you too much. Then our math message was plotting. We're going to plot the numbers, the letters onto the number line. Remember, the negative I said was before the race, 0 is the actual start, and then anything to the right of 0 means after the race has already started. So you're just going to put, we already did A, you're going to put B, C, D, E, and F on the scale, or on the number line for me. Bring that in. And then finally, I just want you to do 1 through 6 because I think that I'm going to confuse you more if I say too much more about it right now. Okay, so I kind of want to make sure that you're understanding it. So another way to look at negative numbers too is that the more I'm in the whole, I don't want to be. So a negative 14 is less than a negative 7, okay? And hopefully that starts to make sense. I don't know if it is, but we'll work on it a little bit, okay? So that you understand, because I'm going in more, so it's less than that. All right, so we will work on this a little bit more in class. We'll do those journal pages that I showed you that I actually didn't do, and I'll talk a little bit about pi. Now remember, don't panic about this. If it's confusing to you, it's okay, because we are going to get exposure to it, and we're going to work through it together, and hopefully it will begin to make more sense. And I'm going to do, there's a couple quiz questions that we'll just follow up on negative and positive numbers, so if you can complete that, that would be awesome. Have a great evening.